Hi, I'm Enchanting Nubianette. Welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. So picture this, everyone. You get arrested, or perhaps someone you know get arrested for a non-violent offense. Maybe it's a little trespassing, or maybe you missed a court date. Under old, the old school cash bail system, you need to cough up a few hundreds or even thousands of dollars just to get out of jail while you wait for a trial. And if you don't have it, you sit in a cell, period. Now, let's think about the cashless bail, a system that says, let's not lock folks up just because they're broke. Instead of paying money, the judges, they think about whether you're a flight risk or a danger to the community. And if not, you go home and you're able to prep for court on your own time without being surrounded by strangers in a cell and in peace. But hold up. Now there's a curveball. Did you hear the news? Your president, President Trump, signed an executive order, actually, more executive orders, plural, to end cashless bail in Washington, D.C., and potentially all across the nation. So the administration says that it is about public safety, and they're arguing that letting folks out without bail leads to more crime. They're threatening to pull federal funding from cities that keep the policy. Now, I have to admit, everyone, I am in agreement this time with your president because living here in New York, I am so tired of seeing criminals get caught and then released. Let's continue with the pros of the cashless bail. So let's talk again about the benefits because this system wasn't born out of just anywhere. It did come from a real need to fix a broken part of our justice system. So the first thing is it doesn't criminalize poverty. This is a pro. The cash bail, it hits hardest when the wallets are thinnest. Black and brown communities, we know this struggle all too well. Cashless bail says your freedom shouldn't depend on your bank account. So I definitely agree with that as well. In some factors, depending on how serious, of course, um, the crime was. If someone, for example, in my opinion, if someone goes to Walmart or someone goes to Costco and they do, steal some food, they shouldn't have to pay a extreme amount of money in order to bail out or be sent to jail for many years for that penalty because, they wanted to survive. But of course, if someone is harmed, if you assault people, if you're a repeat offender, if you're stealing other items, of course, I definitely say you have to have your consequences. But I'm just more soft when it comes to food. That's my opinion. Let's continue. Secondly, a pro is it keeps families together. So people who are, charged, they can continue working, which is number one. You need to be able to keep your job. You need to care for your kids because I do not like to see children being placed in foster care because of something that the parent did. That's extremely traumatic, and we know there's not even enough foster parents to even take in these children. The foster care system is extremely saturated. It has been for decades. So I would love for children to stay with their parents. And definitely, people just need to handle life while they're awaiting trial, pay their bills. But definitely going to work, caring for their kids, taking care of the rent, or even if you have a mortgage. Also, jail time, even if it's a few days, can definitely cost someone their job, their housing or custody. Third, it definitely reduces jail overcrowding. So people who are being held without pretrial costs, taxpayers big bucks, so much money. And cashless bail helps to ease the burden on jails and even budgets. Because overcrowding also leads to, yes, it's uncomfortable. It's another form of, these people who are breaking the law to have consequences, but tax dollars are depending on it. So, let's put tax dollars into better use if the person has, like a minor infraction like stealing food, or maybe they forgot to pay their certain fees, or parking tickets, that type of thing. I'm more lenient towards that. And the fourth pro I would say is, you know according to online reports, studies show that folks show up for court without needing bail. And also, well, it says that rearrest rates for violent crimes while on cashless bail are low, real low. But in my opinion, it really depends on the mindset of the person. If that person is a stable minded person, I would say that, once they have committed that offense and they're warned that they definitely will get penalized the next time, perhaps they will not do it again. But if someone, for example, has a mental illness, or if someone is a hardcore criminal, they don't have a conscience, especially if they're harming people, if they're a perpetrator, if they have that mindset that they don't want to change, I wouldn't say that, them not having paying bill will reform them or help them to do better. So that's my opinion. So here are some of the cons or even the concerns that I have and even other people have. So first and foremost, again, the repeat offenders. There are some people who get released and they go on to commit new crimes. It's so much in their system, they don't even think about going on the straight and narrow and doing things the right way. They even commit crimes before the trial, which is extremely ridiculous to me, but that is their mindset. And it's a problem for you and I and everyone in society. Some people are just professional criminals. And in this administration, it points to those cases as proof that our system, the justice system, is indeed broken. Secondly, judges use algorithms and checklists to decide who's safe and who's not safe to be released on the streets. But algorithms definitely can be biased too. And there's too many times that criminals, slip through the cracks. And honestly, there are many cases, especially that I've noticed in the last 5 years and even 10 years, where there are judges, in my opinion, that they're not making good, rational decisions about some of these criminals. There are people who harm people. People are great. People are brutally wounded. People are, unalived. And especially, I would say, a lot of these so called parents who are leaving their children in hot cars and saying, oops, I made a mistake. Oops, I had something on my mind. These people need to be penalized. So I don't believe that all judges are making the right decisions. Some judges, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think they even know who's safe to release or who's not. And it shouldn't be about how much money someone has or the race of that person either. Everyone should be facing consequences for the same crime. Third, there will be a political firestorm that has been brewing for many, many years now. Cashless bail has definitely become a thing of, people are campaigning. Some people are for it, some people have been against it, but many, many critics like myself, say that it's too soft on crimes. And a lot of cities have scaled back many reforms too because of the pressure. So, again, everyone who commits the same crime, anyone who commits the same crime should face the same penalty. But even if someone does steal food, even if someone miss their parking tickets, or if it's a small type of crime, they need to face some penalty, even if they have to volunteer, to clean up and to help other people for even a month or two. That should be their penalty. So listen, I am definitely not here to say the system is flawless. Let's not pretend that the old way was working either. Cash bail was never about justice. It's always about money in this country. That's my opinion. And when justice depends on your ability to pay, that's not justice. That's basically a hustle. Let's make sure that the criminals pay huge fines. If they cannot pay those fines once they have a serious crime that they have committed, they should be locked up for many years. So ending cashless bail, it may not fix the crime. It definitely fills jails with poor people who haven't even been convicted yet as well. That's another thing. There are people who have been in jail waiting for trials. They're not able to afford a lawyer. They don't have education about, their rights. And unfortunately, there are people who have been in jail for 5, 10, 15, and even decades, and they find out years later when they're much older that they haven't even committed a crime. They were innocent all along. That is extremely unfair to them. So we need to make smart reforms in this country. And definitely judges need to do their jobs, but they need to do their jobs well. And some judges, they definitely need to be replaced by, you know, people who are, more newly educated. They have learned about the modern ways of, these laws being in effect. And, we need to have people who are very progressive and really want to see change and not go by the old system. So my final words are, cashless bail is also about fairness to every single person. Doesn't matter the race, ethnicity, age, anything. It's definitely about dignity and definitely about public safety. But it's the kind that comes from investing in people and not punishing poverty. So whether you're a policymaker, a voter like myself, or just someone who's trying to, make sense of it all, ask yourself, are we building a justice system that's just for some, or if it's indeed justice for all? Because if we're really serious about change, we need to stop treating freedom like it's for sale. You can't just buy yourself out of freedom. And there's many people who are from wealthy families and they commit terrible crimes too. Horrible crimes that they pay for and it gets swept under the rug. There are many people who are going to like Ivy League schools. They're able to, have these prestigious jobs. They don't have even a blemish, but they have done crimes. But again, because they have money, it's okay for them to have the go ahead sign. That is not fair at all. There's many people who are in these top positions, and that's the reason why there's a lot of crime as well in this country because there's a lot of people who are not doing the right things, whether you're impoverished or you're wealthy. So again, on both sides of the fence, it needs to be fair for everyone. So I am happy that the cashless bail has gone away, and I'm I think that it will be utilized in every single state. We'll see. So please leave your comment below. I appreciate your feedback. And also, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Stay safe wherever you are and keep your head on a swivel.